Willette's always heard about him. Willette stole the sort of the thunder away from Hilton. So it's really, I think, legitimate in that respect.
And certainly Willette also defeated Alex Hilton, so there's some family pride at stake for the Hiltons.
Absolutely. They want to regain that name. And now you got the father, Dave Sr., back in the corner, which is something that hasn't happened with Davey in a long time.
I think that's a huge bonus, having Dave Hilton Sr. in the corner. You know, I'll always remember Howard Grant and Otis Grant telling me that when Otis was in the ring, Howard would be screaming ringside, and Otis said, I'd pick up that voice and I'd listen to him, and he'd tell me what to do. He'd make some observations. And I think when Davey Hilton Sr. does speak from the corner, his son Davey Jr. listens and can hear it.
Absolutely. He started them outboxing when they were 5 and 6 years of age, so that's been a voice in his mind all through his career. So getting him back here will definitely affect his performance. And I think Alex will be in the corner too tonight. So you got the whole Hilton clan taking on Stephane Willette.
Also, Stephane Willette spent part of his training in Puerto Rico, a large part of his training in Puerto Rico. Why the move to Puerto Rico? Is it to get him away from all the atmosphere here as he got ready for the fight?
I think so. I think there was a lot of pressure on him. Also, he's going to train with Felix Trinidad, the great welterweight who's going to take on Oscar De La Hoya in September. So it probably got him away from the constant pressure that he had to deal with in the fans and the media, and let him concentrate just on the fight.
We're seeing Laverne Clark inside the dressing room right now. Clark at 12-7-1. Of those 12 wins, 8 by knockout. He's going up against Eric Luca tonight.
He looks like a very powerful man. And here again, we got Eric Luca on the brink of an official eliminator for the world super middleweight title in the WBC. He's got everything to lose tonight and very little to gain except a victory. So his mind might be on something else while he's fighting tonight, just like Willette was thinking of the world title when he fought Hilton.
Well, Don, you know, we've been talking about it for a while, and that is Eric Luca's failure to knock out opponents. He has a very impressive record of 29 wins, 3 losses, and 3 draws. But of those 29 wins, only 9 by knockout. And tonight he's going up against Laverne Clark. Your thoughts on all the commotion being made, but some media types, me included, as we see Eric Luca on the screen, when it comes to his lack of punching power?
Well, you know, that is something that it gives a fighter who boxes him a little bit more incentive. He looks there and says, he can't hurt me. I'll go out. I can take all the chances I want. Whereas somebody comes in there and sees a big knockout record, they say, I better be cautious. I think Eric Luca is a terrifically conditioned fighter. I just think that his career has been based on his conditioning, the ability to go the limit, and he may not have concentrated on heavier punching power. However, he was fighting as a light heavyweight on occasion, but he's fighting bigger men. This is a natural weight, so maybe we'll see him developing some power.
Can you develop power over a period of time?
Yes, you can. When a guy comes down in weight, I'll give you a perfect example. The Shahzad Aziz, Terry Pitts, was fighting Dale Brown. He began his career as a heavyweight. He's only got 4 knockouts. You look at that and say, this guy's not a puncher. Yet he knocked out Don Diego Potter, top-rated world cruiserweight. Why?
He's there in that room.
Heavier division and came down. So you can develop it, and I think that's been something they've been trying to work on with Eric Luca.
We're right inside the room with Eric Luca right now as he gestures towards our camera. And thank you, Eric, for doing that. As he gets ready for a big matchup for him here tonight. Super middleweight, 10-rounder from the Molson Center. So he's from Saint-Julie, Quebec. Just outside Montreal. You know, you talk about charismatic fighters, and certainly it applies to Hercules Caballos. This man is quite charismatic himself. You know, in the world of boxing, where sometimes we get pugilists who don't really obey the rules and live that way, this man obeys the rules. He's a perfect role model.
Again, there we go. He's so clean cut. You know, he's got a height advantage here. He's a little bit older. The other fellow got an advantage in reach, so it's a pretty even up match in terms of their physical attributes. But Eric he's sort of like a Lennox Lewis. You know, he's such a nice guy. People say, well, he's dull. He's not a Tyson getting arrested and going to jail, or Holyfield having 9 kids out of wedlock. And Lucas is that kind of a fellow. He just trains, he just fights, and he just shows up and gives all he has.
Tail of the tape, you can see it on your screens. And you can see the massive crowd here at the Molson Center. They're still arriving.
It's got on the sort of the atmosphere of a rock concert here right now. So the music playing, the people, the anticipation, it is phenomenal.
I think the decibels will go up and up as we get closer to Stephane Willette and Davey Hilton Jr. But that's not the only, or that fight is not the only one on the program tonight. Certainly Sahad Abdul Aziz and Del Brown. I'm looking forward to seeing Del Brown in action here tonight. Sometimes he takes your spot when you're busy promoting fights throughout the U.S. in that chair as my color commentator. And Del has been inactive because of an injury, and it's going to be interesting to see him in the ring. But right now we've got Eric Luca upcoming, and he's heading down the hallway from the visiting dressing room here at the Molson Center.
It looks like one of the Blues Brothers there. Is this a new outfit? Maybe they're trying to infuse some color into his personality here with this dark glasses and a long leather coat. Something new is follows Abe Pervin and Yvonne Michelle into the ring.
He's not quite Nassim Hamed, the Prince, yet. And maybe that's good.
Maybe he's the Duke. I don't know.
You can hear the reaction in the background. Though Luca has not made an appearance in the bowl, they certainly can see these images on the giant screen, and they are reacting here. It'll be a pro-Luca crowd.
Clark is very confident.
There is no need for anyone to remind Laverne Clark that he has a major challenge on his hands when he meets Eric Lukai here, but a glance at the record book reveals that he can spoil your party if you don't watch your P's and Q's. He did just that last September when he put a damper on the aspirations of highly regarded Anibal Acevedo of Puerto Rico by deep freezing him in the very first round. A win against Luca would surely derail the latter's plans for his forthcoming world title opportunity and would send Clark's stock soaring. And he knows it. And that's why he's here.
And looking at Clark's record, he's jumped all around. He's fought super middleweights, light heavyweights, cruiserweights.
Also look at his record of 12-7-1, and you wonder if he fought all of those fights in the kind of shape that he is in here tonight at the Molson Center, because he is in terrific shape, well cut.
Yes, absolutely. Looks like a weightlifter, in fact. I've seen the fights he lost. He lost in Denmark. He lost in Florida. Lost in Illinois. Always in the backyard of the opponent. Again, he's in the backyard here. There's not a guy who has much advantage. Well, here comes combat-ready Eric Luca, I see.
Eric Luca making his way towards the ring. He is the current international super middleweight champion. Certainly recognized for his two gallant attempts at dethroning future Hall of Famers Fabrice Tiozzo and Roy Jones Jr. back in 1996.
Terrific. Everybody wrote him off, but here he is, and fought his way back to a chance for a title fight.
In fact, Eric's stock actually went up after those two losses.
Absolutely. And he's been waiting for a title fight for a long time now. Henry Spitzer, the matchmaker, said Eric Luca is in trouble tonight.
You know, but since then, since those two fights, Luca is a perfect 10-0.
L'arbitre, Monsieur Denis Langlois. The referee, Mr. Denis Langlois. Les juges, the judges, Monsieur André Bidégaret, Monsieur Sylvain Leblanc et Monsieur Émilien Nadeau. Un combat de 10 rounds, division des super moyens. A 10-round fight in the super middleweight division. Dans le coin bleu, in the blue corner, portant la culotte noire et pesant 165 livres et demi, wearing the black trunks and weighing 165.5 pounds, avec une fiche de 12 victoires, dont 8 knockouts, 7 défaites et 1 nulle, with a record of 12 wins, 8 knockouts, 7 losses and 1 draw, from Rock Island, Illinois, Laverne Clark. Dans le coin rouge, in the red corner, portant la culotte jaune et noire, wearing the yellow and black trunks, pesant 169 livres at 169 pounds, avec une fiche de 29 victoires, dont 9 knockouts, 3 défaites et 3 nuls, with a record of 29 wins, 9 knockouts, 3 losses and 3 draws, de Sainte-Julie, Québec, Eric Luca.
tell who the crowd favorite is.
I'll point out one thing, Dino. 6 of his 8 knockouts are in the first round. So one time, when you look at the opponent, when you look at Clark, he's a guy who can be explosive early in the fight. So I think this is a very important round.
Referee is Denis Langlois. Denis Langlois was the referee the last time Hilton Jr. and Stéphane Ouellet were inside a ring. And one of the finest, may I add, in Canada. It's underway.
Could be an explosive first round.
Luka in the yellow trunks with black trim. Clark in the black trunks with red, white, and blue trim. There's a big punch by Clark, which was nowhere near the mark. The thing about Luka is he may not have the punching power desired by some pugilists, but he has a good chin.
He's a durable man. That's why I say here's a guy who, again, 6 one-round knockouts, out of the 8 knockouts in his career for Laverne Clark. And he's got a man who's just almost impossible to knock out. As Roy Jones found, it took him 11 rounds, and he stopped him, and Eric was still on his feet.
That's right. It was a TKO and not a knockout. Nearing the 1-minute mark of the opening round here, and Luka throws a left jab right into the gloves of Clark.
Clark, who I expected to come out brawling in his first round, has been very cautious.
I think what I've noticed about Clark is, yes, he may have power in that right hand, but when he delivers it, it's not the quickest right hand I've ever seen.
He sort of lobs it over like a tennis shot.
Yeah, easily read, too. There again, we saw that right hand. You can predict that hand coming, so if your defense is sharp, you can't avoid it almost all night.
Luka looks very intrepid. His eyes right on top of Clark.
Not a complicated sport. Power and speed. Speed and power.
I think if Clark sees that Luka can't hit him, he might be a bit more aggressive. But he seems to be very, very cautious at this stage of the game. A real feel him out first round, like they say.
Apparently Luka is backing up Clark. Luka is pursuing him around the ring, and then when Clark gets a chance, good left hand there.
Yes.
I'll tell you another thing, when Clark throws those right and left combinations, he leaves himself wide open.
Yes, and he doesn't set himself to punch. That was a shot by Luka.
We saw it right there. The counter punch is the key here against Clark for Luka.
Clark thus far unwilling to mix it up with Luka. And neither one really doing too much in this first round. Similar to that Cavellos fight.
I think it would be wise on Luka's part here to be very patient. There's a good left hand.
Clark shook it off, which means that really hurt. Whenever they say no, it doesn't, it means yes, it did.
That's right. A slip at the end of round 1.
Yeah.
But I suspect that round will easily go to Eric Luka.
No question.
At least the fans think so here at the Molson Center. See Michel in the corner talking to his fighter. Hey, Pervin.
I just think they're just telling him to be focused, not to lose sight of Clark, you know, to get down into the fight and be determined, not to be throw caution to the ring, but just keep on. Wrist up on Ouellet.
What you are seeing on television, the 20,000 plus fans here at the Molson Center are seeing on the giant screen. Thus, the big reaction.
Round 2.
See what kind of advice Eric Luka got inside the corner there, as I thought Clark was very slow, very predictable, easy to read in round number 1, and we'll see if Luka can exploit that.
There's a poking right hand by Clark. Now it could work two ways. Clark might notice that Luka can't hurt him, and Luka might notice that Clark can't hurt him. So somebody's going to take the aggressive stance here, and looks a bit more like Luka right now.
Good body shot by Clark. Even better counter punch, left hand by Luka.
Luka needs to win impressively tonight. He's got the Catley fight on, and there's American television executives here waiting to see to put him on the show if they'll buy it for a September fight. So he's got to come through looking impressive. He wants to get wider exposure for his next match.
Fighters directly above us here. Laverne Clark in the black trunks, Luka in the yellow trunks, and this is round number 2. The excitement level is quite not there in this fight yet, but there's a good flurry, both sides. Good body shot, left hand by Luka.
He's got to keep pressing this fight now. He's got to win and win impressively. He can't let Clark run away and then make it a bad match where he's going to look cool as the fight goes on. Anything can happen.
Since the opening bell in round number 1, Eric Luka has pursued Laverne Clark around the ring. Can't do that.
No, nobody's laying. They're both a little bit too cautious. Now, Luka is the fighter who's pursuing. He's forcing the action, but he's not throwing enough punches. He's starting off now with a little bit of a jab.
Yeah, that's another one that was trajectory was easily picked up by Luka. He moved away, and then Luka snapped back with a counter punch. And right now, Clark's missing with everything.
Yeah, Luka got to throw an overhand right because Clark's left is so low. There's a left hook.
Good little left hook there by Luka, and you saw Clark's head spring back. And the fans get into the chant here, Luka, Luka.
Above us with a left hook by Luka.
Good right hand. And we're joined by Guy Jutra. I think Guy will give both rounds to Eric Luka. Not a bold prediction, but just see what happens. And it's happening for this man, Eric Luka. We're inside the corner here with Eric Luka. You see Yvon Michel there, Abe Pervin, and Davey Hilton Jr. Whoa. Being shown on the giant screen, and a lot of booing here at the Molson
Ask him where I
Center.
know him from. Maybe. It could be.
I'm surprised at the amount of booing for Davey Hilton Jr. we saw during the previous segment. Stéphane Ouellet on the giant screen, and he got a rousing ovation.
Well, you know, a lot of controversy about Hilton the last month or so, Dino, so may affect the crowd's reaction to it.
Round 3 is underway here at the Molson Center. You can tell just while you watch the television screen how crisp and quick Eric Luka's jab is, as opposed to the lunging jab or straight forearm by Clark.
No, Eric is a precision fighter. He's well trained. You can see that beautiful jab, probably best punch of the fight. And the other kid just, you know, tries to throw one shot and knock you out, and it doesn't land, he's out of the fight. That pretty much is the kind of style that Clark has.
Clark got a parting shot in. There's another one.
You know, like I said, Clark may have natural power, but that's about all he has. He hasn't been really taught the fundamentals of boxing. And Luka is a much crisper puncher, sharper puncher. You should really just pursue him and take him out of there now. I don't think you should have anything to worry about.
Good right hand by Luka. He came over the top, and Clark tried to get the left glove in the way, but came up a little too late. I don't think Clark really can afford to move either way here. He hasn't mixed it up enough, but if there is a weakness to Eric Luca's methodical attack, Clark quite hasn't figured it out yet.
No, I think Clark has gotten to that defeatist mode now. He's not doing anything to try to win the fight. He's not pressing it. As I say, this is a fight for Luca, not just to win, but to win impressively. He's just got to go out there and drill it. He's outclassing Clark is basically what it is.
And if Luca had the appropriate punching power, this fight would be over.
Yes.
Oops. I know Henry Charles of the Alouettes is here. That was a half tackle.
See, a bad fighter will make you look bad because he's not letting him really fight, and he doesn't know how to be aggressive enough himself. You see Luca tagging with the left hook. He just needs to just overwhelm Clark, not worry about anything.
Double time right there. The first time it worked for Luca. The second time even better. He went to the body with the right hand and then landed the left. Going to school. That's all it's about. And Eric Luca is learning quite a few lessons here. To his advantage, of course. Wild punches on both sides there to end the round.
Definitely Lucas round.
Imagine the experience in that corner. Abe Pervin, Ivo Michel, and Bob Miller.
Absolutely. You know, that's got to be, I guess, maybe 150 years experience between the three, and maybe 200 years, if you don't want to exaggerate.
Maybe half of them going to Abe.
Yeah,
oh,
right.
I'm sorry, Abe.
Now we'll see what Luca tries. Again, he presses him, but doesn't press him enough. He needs to just follow up when he gets him on the ropes.
Left hand. Nice little left hand by Luca, and he consistently landed that left hand on the counterpunch.
Absolutely. Dominating the fight, just needs to pick up that spark. This guy's there to be taken out, and I think the crowd wants to see him go too. Luca's got to pick up the pace.
Dino Sisto alongside Don Majeski. Still to come, Stéphane Ouellet, Dave Hilton Jr., and Abdul Aziz and Dale Brown. Right now, it's Eric Luca and Laverne Clark. Clark in the black trunks, Luca in the yellow trunks. And this is round number 4. And to recap this fight, Luca has pretty much done what he needs to do, and that is pursue his opponent, land the counterpunch. There's a left, another left. And Clark is just a little too slow for Luca.
Luca with a bit of a left hook there, but he came back and took it. And as I say, Luca must know Clark can't hurt him, and he hurt Clark with a body shot there.
Yes, he did, actually. You could tell. Here we have Eric Luca ahead by 3 on Guy Jutra's card, 30-27. Luca with another left along the ropes.
No question it's a shutout, Dino. As I say, it needs to be a knockout, and Luca just needs to, keep firing. Don't let this guy off the hook. Oh, he's come back with a few blows there now, Clark.
Well, those are the best shots he's landed in this fight. And then Luca comes right back with a right hand, a left, and he's got Clark off balance.
There we go. One thing I noticed is Clark's mouth has been open almost all through this fight. Either he's got a bad mouthpiece or he's got a broken jaw and he can't breathe. But you notice his mouth keeps gaping open, which is a bad thing for a fighter.
He's certainly not out of shape.
No. So there's something wrong there, either with the mouthpiece or with his ability to breathe.
Luca moves in against the ropes. Clark is, and then...
Good left hook there, but again, this mauling style of Clark is not letting Luca fight.
One of the few times Denis Langlois has had to step in to separate the fighters. It has been a clean fight, no doubt about that. Some people would like to see Eric Luca maybe be a little dirtier inside the ring. I'm not one of those people, but...
Well, as you say, he's a nice guy. There's a good left hook. Now follow up, Eric. That's where he needs to go.
Clark is in trouble in the corner.
He could stop this now. Here goes Luca with both hands.
Luca moves in.
firing shots. Clark is hanging on a good right hand, and Luka misses with another right.
Beautiful shot. There he goes again, and the crowd wants that knockout. And a beautiful right hand again.
Another, a left.
I'd give it a 10-8 round for Luka.
Clark.
Oh, look at this. He took a knockdown.
Oh, yeah. Fans don't like it, but I understand it.
It'll save him the round.
Laverne Clark in serious trouble here in round number 4.
That's the kind of Eric Lucas fight that has to be done. He's going to fight the Glenn Catleys and beat Richie Woodwalls and be a world champion.
I think this will be an important round number 5 for Eric Luka, as he had his opponent in serious trouble at the tail end of round number 4. And I think a lot of people looking forward to see him. Oh, I just saw something strange in the corner. Laverne Clark was just slapped by his trainer.
Maybe he wants to quit. Maybe the trainer's trying to tell him to stay in there.
There's a highlight from round number 4.
At this point, he was just over. Beautiful left hook. You see he's all over Laverne Clark.
There is again. I've never seen this. A trainer continually slap his fighter in the face.
I think the fighter maybe wants to quit and he's telling him to go on. Something's happening here.
Oh,
Does he have his no mouthpiece, or there's water on the canvas there, or ice?
See, that's what makes Denis Langlois a terrific referee. He knew that was a dangerous situation for the fighters, and he stopped everything. Rightfully so.
Let's see if that slap inspired him.
Good left hand by Luka. Terrific right hand. Over the top by Luka, and that stung Clark again, and this is early in the round.
I think one more shot like that, and Clark will quit.
I don't think Clark, that's right, I don't think Clark is game anymore. He probably has come to the conclusion that Luka is way too quick for him, and he won't be able to land a bomb against Eric Luka, so give him credit, he's hanging in there, he's trying, but Luka is scoring.
I'm going to challenge now for Luka to win by knockout. There he is, got him on the ropes. Now they're sort of spun around.
Right, it's going to be a TKO or a knockout at one point, because this abuse can't continue. Right there, Clark goes down again.
I think he's quitting. The corner man may want to fight Dino, but Clark doesn't.
Yeah, Clark just looked at the corner. They have not thrown in the towel. It's over. Denis Langlois puts an end to this fight. It's the right decision, as Eric Luka wins his 30th pro fight. Here's the highlights. And I think Laverne Clark just had enough. He went down on one knee, looked at the corner. You see it again. There, you see, it wasn't much of a shot. Clark knew that there was no future for him in this fight and decided to call it a night. And I don't think that's a bad decision.
No, I think he was ready to quit at the end of the 4th round. I think the corner forced him out. First good shot, he said, that's it, goodbye.
So Clark's record falls to 12-8-1. We know a little more about the young man now. The fact that maybe he doesn't have the speed. He has some determination and will. And he has the punching power. But that man, Eric Luka, now 30 wins, 3 losses, 3 draws. And of those 30 wins, 10 by knockout.
À 1 minute 21 du 5e round, the winner by knockout at 121 for 5th round, Eric Luka.
Well, at least he got his 10th knockout, which is something that Luka doesn't score often. So going into the Catley Eliminator, he's coming off a KO. That should give him some inspiration.
Oh, no, there are quite a few positives. I have to agree with you. Quite a few positives here. He had Clark on the ropes. He had him in trouble, and he finished him off. And if there has been a criticism of Eric Luka, it's been his inability to do so. And he did it here tonight in front of a near sellout crowd at the Molson Center. Charles-Andre Marchand is ringside. And as soon as Eric Luka is ready, we will go inside the ring and get the comments from tonight's winner, Eric Luka, as he poses for some pictures. Looks like a character from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with that coat on. But Charles is ready. Let's go to Charles-Andre Marchand.
Semblait vouloir établir un rythme dès le départ.
Ouais, ben, j'ai voulu comme juste y mettre un peu assez de pression pour qu'il sente que j'étais pour être là, que je ne le lâcherais pas. Parce qu'on savait que vers les 4e, 5e rounds, il a tendance à faiblir. Et ma stratégie, c'était d'amener vers ces rounds-là. Puis ça a porté fruit, puisqu'au 4e, j'ai ouvert fort. Puis au 5e, il n'avait pas voulu poursuivre. C'est un peu malheureux à cause de ça.
Ouais, il a tenté de mélanger avec toi à quelques reprises, mais il s'est vite ravisé.
Ouais, ben c'est ça, au 4e round, c'est ça, là, on a voulu faire coup pour coup. Il a vu que j'ai eu le dessus, puis solidement pas de ça. Fait que là, j'avais pensé peut-être qu'il s'aurait réessayé au 5e, mais il a pas il a vu qu'il ne pouvait pas arriver, fait que là, il a tout simplement abandonné, je pense. Ben, en dernier, je l'ai pogné sur
Charles-André, tu me traduis en anglais après, s'il vous plaît.
Ben, Eric Luka, félicitations, puis on souhaite te revoir très bientôt dans le ring.
Merci beaucoup.
Donc, Eric Luka was explaining to us that he wanted to establish a pace from the start of this fight. It's unfortunate for him that his opponent, Laverne Clark, didn't want to go through. He said he tried to mix up with me a few times, but obviously he changed his mind very quickly, and says that's probably why he thought twice before pursuing this fight in the 4th round. Eric Lucas, though, the victor again tonight at Molson Center. Back to you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Charles-Andre Marchand. Some terrific work inside the ring.
Merci, Charles-André.
As we await the next fight here at the Molson Center, but before we look ahead to the next fight, let's take one look back at the last one. And yes, we've spoken quite a bit about Laverne Clark, but it's time to focus on a little more on tonight's favorite, Eric Luka. And I think this is just a terrific sign for Luka. Earlier, Don, you were talking about some of the Americans, television people here, and taking a look at Eric Luka. And once they did, what'd you think? What do you think the outcome will be?
They promised a potential fight on September the 10th where he's going to fight Glenn Catley of Great Britain for the official elimination for the mandatory position of WBC to fight Richie Woodhall. I think they were watching him. I would have liked to see him be a bit more aggressive early, but they can't complain. He knocked the guy out. You can't blame Lucas for the performance of his opponent.
That's right.
So hopefully they were impressed with what they saw, and he'll be back September 10th for that eliminator.
Our next fight is Wesley